What's going on, guys? My name is BasedOnImpulse and welcome back to the channel. So since Season of Arrivals and the upcoming expansion Beyond Light have a lot of players interested in returning to Destiny 2 or picking it up for the first time, I wanted to sit down today and highlight some of the most important things new and returning players need to do during the Season of Arrivals. This video is geared a bit more towards returning players, but those of you looking to hop into Destiny for the first time will be able to learn some things as well. I'll be covering a long list of things throughout all the 3 years of content that we've gotten in Destiny 2, so this video should be useful to you whether you've been gone for just a season or you've never played the game before. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get started. First, I just want to get some housekeeping things out of the way that returning players need to be aware of. First and foremost is weapon and armor sunsetting. We talked about this a bit in my previous video, but here's the quick rundown again just to have you caught up. Weapons will now have a power cap on them that is equivalent to 1 year after that piece of gear's release. So any weapons that came out with Shadowkeep or earlier are capped at 1060 power and cannot be infused any higher. This means that they will not be endgame viable come September. The exceptions to this are any and all raid loot. Bungie originally stated that only Garden and Last Wish loot would be getting this treatment, but recently in a TWAB they expanded this to all raids. This means that loot from all raids currently in the game will have a power cap of 1360, meaning that they will be endgame viable until the summer of 2021. Now, to be clear, this does not mean your weapons are going away or will not be usable anymore. You can still use your favorite weapons in 90% of the game's content. This only affects your loadouts in activities where light level matters, so raids, dungeons, nightfalls, trials, and Iron Banner. If you want to get an idea of some good weapons to have heading into the fall, you can check out my other video on that right now by clicking the card in the top right of your screen. Something else that is very important for returning players to be aware of is that Bungie has announced that they will be introducing a new system into the game known as the Destiny Content Vault, or DCV for short. The DCV will allow Bungie to cycle content out of the live game, creating more space for them to work with, as well as clearing room for new and more viable content. With the release of Beyond Light, Bungie will be removing a lot of content out of the live game and into the DCV, so there are a handful of things that you need to get your hands on before they're gone if you don't already have them. Mercury, Mars, Io, Titan, and Leviathan will all be cycled out of the live game alongside their associated activities and loot pools. So now that we've covered all that basic stuff, let's go ahead and jump into what you actually need to do to catch up as a new or returning player. First and foremost, you should catch up on the stories of both Forsaken and Shadowkeep if you haven't played them yet. They're both great stories, and running through them will also help you to boost your power level up from the starting level of 750 very quickly. Returning players, if you haven't played since Shadowkeep, you will also be at 750 power, as Bungie did a flat change to everyone's gear at the drop of Shadowkeep and pulled everything up to 750. New players, after completing the New Light mission, I suggest first completing the Red War campaign and then going into Forsaken and Shadowkeep. You can pick the Red War campaign up from Amanda Holiday in the tower. As soon as you drop into the tower, just hang a left and she's in there. After finishing Shadowkeep, your power level should be around 860, and then we get to the most fun part of Destiny: power leveling! Seriously, now you'll mostly just want to be leveling yourself up. There's no extremely efficient way to do this until you've hit the soft level cap of 1000 light, so just run your favorite activities and keep getting drops. At this point in your leveling, blue loot is still useful to you, so hold on to it, but that'll change once you pass power level 1000. And once you hit power level 1000, you need to start being a lot more careful with your leveling process if you really want to maximize your power level gains. You don't have to do what I'm about to explain to you, but if you really want to maximize your power, this is the way to go about it. You'll want to complete your weekly milestones in a very specific order. First, you'll do your powerful tier 1s, which is your flashpoint, your weekly bounty objectives, your Nightfall the Ordeal completions, Eris and the Lectern on the Moon, and your Crucible Rotator playlists. Then you'll want to do your powerful tier 2s, which is from Hawthorne and the Contact public event, and then after you finish those, you'll want to do your Pinnacle Drops. Bungie recently increased the amount of Pinnacle sources we have, so here's that list: Strike completions, Core Crucible matches, Gambit matches, Garden of Salvation, Pit of Heresy, the new Prophecy dungeon, earning a 100k score in Nightfall the Ordeal, and the weekly Means to an End quest. Powerful tier 1s get the smallest boost, which is why we're doing them first, and Pinnacles give the biggest boost of a +5 while under 1050, which is why we do them last. You'll also want to complete these milestones in a specific order with your characters, but if you're a one character player, this doesn't apply to you, so just disregard this part. Start on your least played character, then your second least played, and finish with your main. You can really do them in any order you want, but if you want to take your main character into the endgame content the fastest, you'll want to do them last. The hard cap for this season is 1050 power, but doing your pinnacles can help get you up there to that pinnacle cap of 1060. If you're trying to get prepared for the fall or attempt a week 1 raid on the Deepstone Crypt, I would highly recommend chasing 1060 power to just give you that little extra step ahead of anybody who might not be chasing pinnacle cap. Power leveling is important to knock out early so you don't have to worry about it later, but now let's jump into the thing that we all really care about in this game, loot. But just a quick warning, we won't be getting bogged down into the nitty-gritty of roles and everything in this video. We're not going to be talking about weapons you need. For all that, check out my video on weapons that you need for Beyond Light. Let's just quickly run down your primary loot pursuit in the Season of Arrivals, which is the Umbral Engram. Umbral Engrams can drop from just about anywhere in the world. I've gotten them to drop from raid bosses, random patrol enemies, and just about everything in between. You can turn these in directly to the Umbral Decoder, also known as the Drifter's Trash Can, or you can focus them at the Prismatic Recaster to target farm for the weapons that you're looking for. Focusing does require the new material Altered Element, and I might be making a video in the near future about how to farm for that material easily, so keep an eye out for that. There are some solid weapons in these focused engrams that are definitely worth trying to get solid rolls on. Cold Denial, Falling Guillotine, Martyr's Retribution, Gnawing Hunger, and the 7th Seraph Shotgun are all guns worth going after that won't sunset for a while. The Prismatic Recaster also has an upgrade system similar to the Seraph Bunkers from the Season of the Worthy if you played during that, and upgrading this will allow you to get up to 6 free engram focuses per week. 6 free drops, no cost to your focusing. The Recaster also sells mods on a daily rotator, so make sure to pick all these up. They only cost you 3 mod components each, and some, like Lucent Blade, are very strong. Speaking of mods, let's talk about some really important ones. Armament mods, if you aren't aware, put heavy ammo directly into your inventory when you get a grenade kill on the matching enemy type. We have 3 armament mods in the game right now, one for Fallen, Taken, and one for Hive. There are also other mods in the game associated with these enemy types: Barrier, Invigoration, and Repurposing. Barrier and Armaments are the 2 that you absolutely need, but having the other 2 is nice to have as well. All of these come from different endgame sources. Fallen mods can only drop for you during the Scourge of the Past raid after opening the secret chest in the Servitor Chase encounter by activating all the levers. This chest also has a chance to drop you the Always On Time Sparrow, which is the best Sparrow in the game, as well as Fallen Barrier mod, which will be useful as we head to Europa to take on the Fallen in September. Keep in mind that all of these, especially the Sparrow, have a fairly low drop chance, so you'll probably need to run the raid a handful of times before you're actually able to get everything that you need. The Hive mods are arguably the easiest of this group to get, as you actually don't even need to go into a raid to get them. Hive mods have a chance to drop for you from Menagerie or the Crown of Sorrow raid. If you're wanting to get these mods from Menagerie, you'll need to have the Power and Efficiency 3 upgrade on your Chalice. This upgrade states that weekly legendary rewards from the final chest in the Menagerie will now drop a Season of Opulence mod. So if you have all the Power and Efficiency upgrades on your Chalice, this means that you have 3 chances per week per character to get your Hive armaments drop in the Menagerie. You can still do your Crown of Sorrow runs, so make sure you're doing your Menagerie runs and your Crown of Sorrow runs to try and stock up on those Hive mods. And finally, our Taken mods drop from the 2 secret chests in the Last Wish raid. These should be the last set you worry about chasing though, because Last Wish will not be going into the DCV in September. Scourge and Leviathan, including the Menagerie and Crown of Sorrow, however, will be vaulted with the start of Beyond Light. So get these mods before you can, or you might not be able to get them again. It's also very important that you get armor that can equip these mods that will also be infusible up to the power cap. For Taken and Fallen mods, both Last Wish and Scourge of the Past armor will work. For Hive mods, you're going to want Crown of Sorrow or Garden of Salvation gear. I recommend chasing a class item from one of these sources so that you don't have to worry about getting a stat roll that you actually need to worry about. Speaking of stat rolls, let's really quickly talk about the changes that were made to the armor system in September if you missed out on that. Armor 2.0 is now completely different than it was in years 1 and 2 of Destiny. Armor now has 6 stats associated with it rather than the previous 3. We now have Mobility, Resilience, Recovery, Intellect, Discipline, and Strength. These stats impact movement speed, the way that you take damage, health regeneration, and ability recharge rates. Armor also has a chance to drop with Arc, Solar, or Void Affinity. However, if you like the stat roll and need a different element, you can change that for just the cost of 1 upgrade module. Rather than just impacting your damage reduction from that specific element, this now impacts what mods you can and can't equip on your armor. The first mod slot is universal, while the second and third are dependent upon your piece's element. For example, armor with a void affinity only supports mods for hand cannons, snipers, sidearms, grenade launchers, and scout rifles. There are, however, also general mods like special ammo finder or large arms loader that can be equipped as well, but the mods specific to a weapon are stronger and cheaper to equip than the generic version. The final slot on a piece of armor is a seasonal slot. This slot can equip mods from the season of the armor's release, as well as one season before and after that armor was put into the loot pool of the game. You have a maximum of 10 mod points on your armor when it's fully masterworked, and the better a mod is, the more points it tends to cost. For example, Scout Rifle Loader, it costs you 4 points, whereas Enhanced Scout Rifle Loader costs you 6 points. Masterworking your armor is also a very expensive and difficult process. You need enhancement prisms and ascendant shards in order to fully masterwork a piece of armor. These materials can only be earned from high-level nightfalls or trials. You can also buy them from the gunsmith, but they are pretty expensive. Another resource that will be very useful to you if you're trying to catch up is our old friend Xur. Xur shows up every Friday at reset, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, and stays around until the weekly reset the following Tuesday. He shows up in random places around the game every week, so the best way to find out where he is and what he's selling is the website whereisxur.com. I personally use this every week. It will show you exactly where Xur is and what his inventory is that week. Xur will always have an exotic piece of armor for each class, an exotic weapon, and also an engram that you can buy that is guaranteed to drop you an exotic piece of gear that you don't already have. You can see what Xur's inventory looks like here on the screen. However, this is not for this week. At the time of me recording this video, Xur is actually not here, so this is a previous week's Xur inventory. Everything he sells is purchased with legendary shards, so you're not going to be breaking the bank to pick up some really solid pieces of gear. This is a great resource for new players to quickly start boosting up their exotic stockpile, and the engram is a great way for returning players to catch up on exotics that they've missed out on. Xur doesn't sell every single exotic in the game, though. There are many locked behind raids, dungeons, and quests. Some of the most important weapons that are like this for you to grab are the Whisper of the Worm, which you can grab from the mission The Whisper on Io, the 1000 Voices, which can be acquired from completions of the Last Wish raid, Anarchy, which is the random drop from the Scourge of the Past raid, Izanagi's Burden, which can be completed through a quest line in the Black Armory content, and the Xenophage, which is earned through a quest on the moon. So guys, I think that just about covers everything I wanted to get to today. Remember that if you do ever need PvE help in Destiny, be sure to stop by the Twitch channel. I'm always doing PvE help over there. All you have to do is hop in chat and just ask for some help. The link to that, as well as my Twitter and Discord server, are in the description box down below. As always, if you enjoyed the video, a positive rating and a subscription would be greatly appreciated. Remember to also turn on notifications so that you know when new videos are live for you to view, and sharing this with your friends is a great way to support the channel, as that helps me grow more than anything. So, thank you guys very much for watching, and I will see all of you guys again very soon.